Second thing here talks about letting go of an idea of who you are or what others should be. So, sometimes we get so hooked on feeling like we've got to fit this certain mold. That's sort of old saying about being in the box or getting out of the box, or whatever term you want to look at, however you want to look at that. So, understanding that there is no box, first and foremost, just get that whole concept out of your head that you're not trying to get into one, you're not trying to get out of one. There is no box. There are no limitations from that standpoint. So just let that idea go. Stop trying to either be what you think you should be because other people want you to be that way, or even think about what you think other people should be, because now
Mhm.
you're placing that same judgment in the
Mhm.
opposite direction. I see some heads
Absolutely.
nodding. Anybody want to chime in on any of that?
I would say the letting go part is, I highlighted that, the letting go of the idea, and that is extremely hard. It takes some work, right? Because you're used to
Mhm.
being, or you're, if you are a were a people pleaser, your goal, the end was to be who you are and other people thought you think you should be, right? So that's what you've been working on all this time. So now when you start to study this and become more self-aware, you want to display this authentic person that you are. You gotta change your whole mindset now, and your goals are going to change as well.
Mhm.
So the letting go is extremely, is doable, but it's extremely hard, especially letting go of the idea that of what others thought you should be. So they're going to portray those thoughts onto you, of course, as you go through this life journey. And so that's what you're working on. Oh yeah, you're right. I do well in that. I should be that. And so
Mhm.
now you're on this journey to what other people think, and then
Mhm.
it's a fear in that as well. And we'll talk about that later, because now you're scared because you really don't want to be this person or do this thing, but you're
Yeah.
trying so hard because you're pleasing other people. So to let go of that is very hard. And I underline vulnerable as well, because that ties into the letting go, opening yourself up to
Mhm.
confront your truth. You're having to deal with self now. And that is, I found it was eye opening within itself, right? And so that is my take on that. Tressena, you have anything you want to input?
Yes, I wrote down when Bryan said there is no box, so let's get rid of the box.
Yeah.
And I said there is no box of limitations. And I think when we're looking at being our authentic selves, when you put people in a box, whether it's yourself or others, you're limiting them. They
Mhm.
Yes.
can't show up sometimes as their authentic selves. And
Mhm.
so, what I've learned, especially in ministry, is you just accept people the way they show up. We do not have to bring any ideas of who we think people should be, who we want them to be, because we have, in essence, put them in a box and we have limited them to the box that we put them in and what we think they should fit or how they should fit in that box. So that's what I
Mhm.
wrote. But I want to talk about real quick the ability to stand in your truth and being authentic. Years ago, I heard Susie Orman. I've been on this journey of being debt free for a long time. And I heard her in one of her conferences say, stand in your truth. When she said that, while I was listening to her to help me in my finances, that applied to so many areas of my life. I really believe that when I heard her say that, it just set me on a different course,
Mhm.
because I said, what is my truth in my marriage? What is my truth in my relationship with my children? What is my truth in just who I am when I show up in the world? So when I heard her say, stand in your truth, it unlocked something on the inside of me that I was like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, then I
Yes.
can only stand in my truth. I can't give anybody else anything that I don't have. So I owned everything about where I was at the present time. And that just stayed with me all these years. And it helps me to be my authentic self, to stand in my truth, whatever that may be, in whatever season of life I'm in, whatever relationship or connection that I've made, I have to stand in my truth.
And I
Absolutely.
love the part I caught. I caught all of it. But the part I held on to was owning your part in where you were at and where you are at this time.
Mhm.
We talked about that in the prior podcasts about your truth, owning your part that you played in this. Because oftentimes we like to blame our environment or our family or how, we grew up or, the other person in the relationship. We're seldom likely to own our part in that. And so, yes, Mabel, stand in your truth, meaning I had a part in this. So where I am right now, I need to own up to that. And you can move forward when you do that. That's a great point, Tressena. That's a great point.
Yeah. It really is a great point. And I think one of the things that we get caught up in when that starts to happen is we start to point the finger, it's their
Yeah.
fault. It's the world's fault.
Yeah.
It's gas is $10 a gallon fault. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever is going on, right?
Yeah.
There's always a way to point out. But I always look at this from an authenticity standpoint to say it all starts within. And that's one of the things that I often preach about is what we're talking about, this transformation that's going to happen, all of that. It really is all about self-realization, right? So the truths within yourself, the goods and the bad, because we're not
Yes.
going to sit here and say it's all going to be sunshine and roses, right? There are going to be some parts that, are going to be more challenging to deal with, but that's all part of the journey. That's all part of the growth and acceptance that needs to happen for you to truly show up as your best self and continue to be authentic to yourself as you go forward
Right.
as well.